Hi,
What? Huh?
I'm over here.
I
Hey,
know.
good morning, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Brian Galke,
Gulk.
as somebody else would
Correct.
say. I keep seeing all the little posts about Steve. Everybody's missing him.
Yeah. Well, the speakeasy memories are popping up. Just little things like that. All
Yeah,
right.
Chris Gray's last post was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. There's gonna be. Well, I'll talk about it later on. Anyway, yes, I like the memories keep popping up from the speakeasies and other stuff. And I called Chris after that one came out. He lives here, and I only see him at events. So he will be at GHL. But he
Growth
lives.
Hacking Live or Go High
Yeah,
Level?
Growth Hacking Live, the one you'll be here for.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when? How's your book? Is it ready to be released yet?
So I'm waiting on the physical copy to get to my address. So done, finished. And that's the
You can
big.
order author copies.
Well, yeah. So Jim ordered one, but it was sent to him instead of to me,
Right.
and so he's.
But you can go back in there and do it for $3. Send your own.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah, just log in as yourself into your whatever that account is, not the Amazon, but the other one.
Okay, that's not creepy at all. But Jim just texted me and said, "Hey, your book should be there on Friday." I'm like, okay.
That's like days from now. You could go directly to Amazon and probably have it by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, because you can order your own. That's what people don't understand is like when you upload your book and everything, you can. A lot of companies, well, you get 100 copies for what we do for you. We can get as many copies as you want by yourself, and they're inexpensive. They're $3 to $4 depending on what your book is. And it could be more than that, but it's so much cheaper than online. So you buy yourself a bunch of copies that you take with you to give out.
Right. Well, he's already got the one on its way to me, and I'm just going to look at it. He said the layout looked good. He got a copy of it, and then I'll make the changes from that version of what that book is to the sales version. So that one will be my next one. But man, I got so much crap going on right now, and just trying to figure out
Positive or negative?
No, positive.
No negative. All right.
Yeah, no. The only negative
since we're bringing up books,
yeah,
it's so much easier now to create your own covers.
Yes,
amazing covers. Because I played around with it for my financial freedom for veterans,
right?
And then my other one, which is divided assets, which is for going through. Huh? Well, they're over. Dude, I don't. We can do it Thursday.
Okay.
All right, but I'm just saying it's just amazing what you can do with ChatGPT if you ask it and tell it how it should be. Again, and use the more expensive model.
Yeah.
Wait, did I lose you?
Nope. You were talking about that the other day because you bumped up, right? Most people use the $20 one, and I think you're at the $200 one.
Yeah, but the $20 one's fine, but you run it. It puts limits on when you're creating images, what you can and can't do.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to bump up to the $100 one because the flashcards. I was doing so many. I was generating the headshots in Codex, which is now not called Codex anymore. That threw me for a loop this week.
Is it?
Now they just changed it, so it looks almost.
What's it called now?
Hold on, I'm looking. Now it just calls itself Chat, but like it was a completely separate, desktop.
Right, because it keeps asking me to download it.
Yeah, so now it looks like Claude. So you have Chat or you have Claude Work, or sorry, you have ChatGPT Chat or you have ChatGPT Work.
Okay.
And that's the difference. So
I saw that yesterday when I was in there doing some more stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't yesterday. It just seems like yesterday. It was Sunday.
And that's the problem is like I was used to the old one. I'm like, oh crap, where's everything at? And so I liked having them separate. And now I'm like, okay, am I in ChatGPT or ChatGPT?
Well, no, it's nice. So it's actually just Chat or Work.
Yes.
Not GPT Work.
Right. And before it was, you had Codex, you had Work, you had Chat, you had, so they're combining things. And I'll tell you, so Joe Ingram was in town.
What?
Yeah. Well, he's going to be down here more often now. He's got a grandbaby down here. So him and his wife came down and he was showing me everything he's doing. We've got to get him on. So he has Claude controlling ChatGPT. He has an entire board that handles things. One acts like a general contractor, you name it. So he's crushing it on LinkedIn and social media with posts that it's all creating for him. It's just words and sayings. Like him and I usually have a weekly, okay, who got more LinkedIn things? Now he has 10,000 followers or 20, and I've got like 5,000 on LinkedIn. Need to grow that. But his posts are just consistently coming in. So he's coming in at 2 to 3 times higher every month of what he did before, just through all the automation. So he went through Jonathan Mast's class, learned how to build like a command center, and he's just crushing it.
All right, so I lied. Here's my book cover. So divided assets.
Yeah,
So
I
I
like
had
that
it
one.
created originally with my VAs a while back, and then when I told it let's create a New York Times best-selling looking cover, it took. I had people on there.
Mm-hmm.
They're walking up. The guy was going to the white part of the house, and the girl was going to the dark part, and it was like, "Don't do that. Why is a woman in this?" So we took them out and redid it this way,
Yeah, it's better
and
this way.
you can go in here and just redo whatever you need changed on it, which is freaking amazing that you can do that,
Right.
and that's really amazing that you can do that.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, if you're paying for the more expensive one, it doesn't mess with it. You know what I mean? It doesn't mess up as much.
Yeah, it doesn't add in extra words. It doesn't change things. So the more you pay, it's like anything else in life. The more you pay, the better quality you get. So, yeah.
There's that one, and then I'll show my other one, which there was, I paid really good money for my first book
Mm-hmm.
to have this stuff done.
Right.
And then let's do my next one. This is my veteran one, and this is the one you had me. He goes, "Can you put a flag on there?" Of course,
Yeah.
just for you, Brian, just for you.
That's
So this is
easy.
financial freedom for veterans, and that flag I took off of my other book.
Yeah.
You follow me? I said, "Can we do something like this?" Because putting a flag on the front porch. So these were here already.
Yeah.
But then it just added this additional. And again, my next, if you want to put your picture over here, you can. This is for the ISBN note thing right here.
Right.
And then I'm going to remove this. This is going to be my big Hangry Media logo. But
Sure.
other than that, but it's so easy now that all this would have taken me weeks
Yeah.
with somebody else.
Well, and that's just it. You used to have to go back and forth to talk to people. What are you going to do? So the flashcards are done. I finished. I did back. They're done through the checklist, but there's a few that didn't upload right. So I finally I'm working on those today. So that'll be finished. I got 2 speaking events tomorrow.
Ooh,
Yeah. And
I just mess with you.
they're one I'm speaking at, one I'm attending as like a judge. But it's just, man, this week I'm back to back. Like yesterday, I went and visited a bunch of people, had some calls I had to do. But starting the rest of this month is just crazy busy between, we got the GHL event, the Growth Hacking Live at the end of the month.
Just say Growth Hacking Live because GHL throws off everybody.
I know. As soon as I said it, I thought about it. Yeah, so you'll be in town for that. As soon as you leave, Jim Morris is coming in town. He's speaking at a mastermind. Then we're going to host a one-day event while he's here, and then a dinner. Then I've got.
Are we putting on a book launch for you while I'm there?
I don't know. We'll have to sit and figure that out because right now kiddo coverage changed, so the ex has to go out of town for work. So my free time isn't free at night anymore.
Huh?
Well, because and while you were here, I didn't have my daughter a lot of those days, but some of that she covers for me. I cover for her. So I will be at Growth Hacking Live, but I won't be at the stuff at night because I'll have to go pick up kiddo.
No, I'm talking like on Saturday or Sunday.
That's what I don't know. I know I'm picking her up on Sunday for sure, but I don't know. We're working out times and stuff like that.
Well, I'm just saying we should do something Saturday night somewhere find a good restaurant, and we could just have whoever's coming for Growth Hacking Live could show up for that, or anybody else in the area come by on Saturday, and we can do a quick little book launch for you.
True. Man, I need to jump in. I haven't been in Ignite stuff in the last few weeks. It just hasn't panned out. There's always something on a Wednesday, so I haven't been on that. I'm going to miss tomorrow because I'll be at those 2 different events, but good problems to have, right? Like 2 months ago, it was like, oh crap, there's nothing. And now it's like, oh crap, there's everything. Like I was going through the calendar before we hopped on here, trying to figure out what can I squeeze in where. So as soon as I jump off this, I've got a talk for, have you ever heard of Disrupt HR?
No.
Okay. So it's 5 minutes, 15 slides, but the slides have to automatically progress. But it's basically a kind of like a short version of doing a talk for HR group. So like SHRM, which is the like national HR group that's out there. This is a different version of that. So it's fun, but that's something in September. I've got some stuff we'll talk about offline. Anyway, this is for other people. But to your point, once I invested from the $20 version to the $100 version of ChatGPT, and I'm still on the low version of Claude. It's amazing with how much better it is. It doesn't change things. It follows suit. Now, like once I upgraded to the 100, I could go into a previous flashcard and say, okay, next up, change this. instead of having to, like, after it seemed like every 4 or 5, it would really screw up. Doesn't do that once you go the higher paying plan.
Yeah, it's like my grandfather said that the most expensive tool in the shed is the cheapest one.
Mhm.
Because when people, "Oh, I'm only paying 20 bucks," but how many more hours did you have to work on it for that just not to pay another $80?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I've been on Claude $200 version for a while now, and that's not a brag, that's just what I had to do for what I was Claude coding and everything else I was doing,
Yeah.
and then I finally, when I was redoing my book covers, I'm like, I read some stuff and I watched some stuff on, and it was like, if you don't wanna have the problems, go for the more expensive model because they use better stuff. It's just
Yep.
how it is. It doesn't time out. It doesn't do this.
Right.
And I was like, well, if I go for 100, I might as well just do the 200. I can always go back down once I'm done.
Yep. It just, people need to invest in it once, play with it, and then decide what's my money better spent on. I mean, you look at $100 is nothing,
No, you
right? How
can't
much?
eat out for 100 bucks anymore.
That's exactly it. I mean, for what I was going to say, for what you spend on other things, what could you cut back on that you could improve? It's like, just images for sure. It's worth it. If you're doing stuff with images, no brainer. The $100 is worth it.
Yeah, because you're how much are you saving? I mean, for
Oh, that's
myself,
exactly
I
it.
mean, so many people I use in that my pod and everything else that I pay for, my other people I pay for, this is so much cheaper. And I mean, the stuff that I came up with,
Mhm.
I mean, everybody's like, "Wow, that's amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, it really is." And it's and then in order, so I can just take that and upload it through the things because it's set up the right way to be spread across everything.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well worth the investment. I even used it for the event I went to in San Diego. I upgraded and said, "Hey, go update all my slides," and it helped because I already created my slides. I didn't ask it to create them from scratch. I said improve it. Now I'm going to do a light and a dark version because the dark version came off a little bit odd, but it definitely jazzed up my PowerPoints and it cut down the size by like a to 1/10 of what it was because I'm very picture heavy on all my slides. And to your point, it didn't start adding in random things because I copied before I upgraded. There was a guy here locally who was throwing an event, and he's like, "Hey, create ones for yourselves," because me and Jimmy were also going to be part of his event. And when I added mine, I just looked at the picture. I'm like, "Okay, it's good." And he goes, "What the hell is this?" I'm like, "Well, what are you talking about?" He's like, "What's it saying that you're going to talk for 45 minutes and offer a free thing?" I'm like, "What?" And you have to read the fine print if you're using the cheap version because it adds in words and promises and things that you don't need to have. So
Yes, you gotta be very careful. Yeah.
yeah.
But I for any additional stuff for writing, to edit my books,
Mhm.
I like Claude better than I do ChatGPT.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, because when it went in and I'm adding stories to, because it's so important to have a story in your chapter and certain
Yep.
things. And I'm going back through, I just had to put a place in my thing to where I could go back and put the story in there. But I even
Yeah.
used it for my vow, for my daughter's wedding,
Mhm.
to write my thing that I was going to do. And it helped. Claude was so much better with that.
And that kind of goes back to what you and I were talking about before is it used to be that to get your book done was 40 to 100,000, right? And then it became more affordable. So it cut in half. So if you want to pass off to somebody, you can say, I need help the entire way through and it'll cost you about 25,000, right? And that
Mhm.
is somebody handling it, doing all the fine details for you and things like that. But even those people are offering lower courses to say, hey, look, you do all this and then bring it to us. So it's made it a lot more affordable, even if you can't afford the higher ticket ones, but it's crazy what's out there now. And yeah, Claude's a big one. I did notice it always tries to push Fable. Like I'm on the cheap one for Claude, the $20 a month or whatever. And it still is like Fable 5. And I'm like, no, because then I'll be out of money in no time flat. So you have to go in and adjust it every time you restart it. But it is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I could just see a totally difference because you can put, and make sure if you're using someone help you with your book, a ghostwriter, that they actually write in your voice,
Yes.
and it's very important. And my two books that I have coming out, though, they all relate back to my first book.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like in financial freedom, I talked about this person and blah blah blah, and it's amazing how you can connect all that through your next books and everything else, if that's
Um,
how you're writing.
And to your point, like I just got done, there's another speaker. Her name's Rashmi. And so she's a speaker and she talks about being an attorney and going to jail and, what all happened. And if it wasn't in her voice, she couldn't have done what she did, which is she did an Audible version of it. That's the one I bought because I wanted to hear it. And it was just like when we talked about when Steve read Bluefish and Go for Stupid, it's like getting to hang out with Steve.
Right.
So if you have somebody else write it and it's not in your voice, then are you going to be able to do an Audible one? I don't know. But when you're trying to read it, well, Jim is turning. So Jim Morris, our friend. He's doing the Audible for his book. And I think he said it took him 88 hours, even though he wrote his own book. And that's with him writing it and it being his stories and things. But you'll get trapped up if you let somebody else write your story, not in your voice.
Right. And it's so much easier now to do your version of Audible.
Yeah.
You could just do it in front of a computer as long as you have a good mic and everything else. And if you're doing it, record it video at the same time, then you can cut that up for a course or something else.
Yep.
And that's the difference. If you go in somewhere and you read somewhere else for your book and not in front of a video camera at your place, you can't do that. You have to redo it.
Well, and for people who don't know, like when we worked with Steve Sims, Steve's first book was written through a publisher, right? And then the problem is the publisher then owned all of his stories. So he couldn't even reuse his own stories in courses and classes. And that's why he chose to self-publish his second book, because that's the way it used to be, is kind of like music artists and record labels who owns the demos and everything else. Is yes, they can help you get you out to the masses, but then they own your asses. Look, I just made up that.
Oh, that was pretty good. But I learned that watching Seinfeld when Kramer sold his stories to the Elaine's boss for his book, and then he couldn't tell the stories.
That's funny.
You don't remember the Seinfeld?
I never watched Seinfeld. You know, it's I couldn't get into that, and I couldn't get into Curb Your Enthusiasm. Everybody
I couldn't get into that either. I got into Seinfeld, but not the other thing. My wife can't stand Seinfeld, but it's just the same thing. If you're selling your stories to a publisher, they own it. With self-publishing, you own it.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people do it. Mm-hmm. Plus, a lot of people couldn't get their book out that they want to get out. You know, some publisher will go, that's not worth it. We're not going to make any money on that, but I want my story. Sorry, now you can. And it's important to do that. I mean, the one I'm doing for, going through a divorce, I finally put in there about, I've been divorced twice.
You're
but I did
writing about going through a divorce.
Yeah. The book I wrote.
You may want to clarify, because you're like, well, when I'm going through the divorce.
The book. No, but I never really put in there about me going through and I lived through it. And that's important in the book, like I did in the Financial Freedom, the first one. The stories about me in the beginning, why I know what I'm talking about. Same thing here. A lot of the stuff I understand, one, being in the business for 20 some years, plus also going through divorces, how that can affect you. I've been married 21 years to this day now, thank God. And that's not going through a divorce, but it's just important to know when you're writing your book how to do it. And if it's your first time, you might need somebody to help you write that book, guide you through it. Some people talk really well, that's me, and other people write really well. Usually not the same two people.
Exactly.
And so that's what a true ghostwriter asks you questions, and they record you talking, and then they go and they type up a whole thing about what you said, and it should be in your voice.
Yeah, to highlight you, not to highlight them. Well, you go back, that's how there's a guy who's pretty famous, Neil Strauss, he wrote a bunch of books. He's now known for his book called The Game, but he started off following rock bands, and he was their shadow writer or ghostwriter. But it's because he hung out with them and went with them everywhere and recorded their stories, not his version of their stories.
Right. And so a good ghostwriter does that. And people are like, well, that's just wrong. You didn't write your book. That's not true. Somebody helped you get your words into written words. Right. That's okay. Because if I didn't have that help in the beginning, there would be no way I could do what I do now.
It's like telling what you call it, Olympic athlete, like, well, you had a coach and a trainer, so you're a fake. It's like, no, you had talent, but you need direction. And that's what ghostwriters help do, is they help take your talent and put it in the right direction. But to your point, people are going and telling, and this is the same with social media posts. Don't tell Claude, just go write a bunch of stories. Here's my topic, go. It's like, no, upload your knowledge base, the way you talk, go examine your old things. Then you can have it help you, but you damn sure better read through it, because if not, people will stop listening because they know you just went out and had AI do it all.
Well, the funny thing now about Claude is if it adds anything in, it
Mhm.
tells you this was my little segment I put in here. It's not yours.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so you can't. It's getting stricter on certain things. Like, I told it put this little section in there and just use its and then I said, okay, that's Mary, whatever it was, and blah blah blah. Okay, but that's still in my words. You need to put it in your words.
Yeah.
So and that's important to understand that it's getting stricter on certain things. If it's saying you're doing it, you need to have done it.
Yes. Well, and that goes back to right now. We live in a day and age where it's not always the truthful people, it's who's the better marketer. But those people, they do well for a short period of time and then they get busted, right? Because like we've talked about before, we know people who are offering like, oh, I'm an expert at this, let me teach it to you. And they've never done it. They just are ballsy enough. We're using Steve's term. They just went for stupid. They didn't know what they weren't supposed to do. And they just started marketing for things they'd never done. And other people are like, okay, and sign up for it.
Well, let's
There's,
go back to your buddy Joe,
yeah.
because I've been in sales forever, and I'm
Mhm.
not. And there's people who tell you I can sell and blah blah blah, and they've never sold. Or there's young people who go, "Well, that was how it was in your day." And the
Yes.
thing about Joe is Joe went back and said, "Okay, this I'm going to go show you how it's done,"
Yeah.
and he went back and did it for a year and a half, and now he's talking about it again, so that the youngsters can't say, "Well, that was how it was in your day." No, that's
Exactly.
how it always will be.
Mhm.
Consumers are always consumers, and they always consume the same way, maybe a different version of talking and things, but
Yep,
sales is always the same.
it is. The thing, you have to know your products inside and out. You have to know how to talk to people. You have to continuously learn. And it's funny, we were talking about this at a lunch the other day with some people that hiring new salespeople. They said newer people don't want to learn the product. They just want a paycheck and they want to, okay, how do I make money? And it's funny, like having a 9-year-old, she wants to be an influencer, right? Like she
She
asked
already
for
does. She influences you all day long.
exactly. But it's fun for her to pretend like there's a phone that she has. It has no phone calling capabilities. It's an old phone that she likes to make videos of herself because she sees those types of things on YouTube. So the videos don't go anywhere. But that is a whole thing now, is entire generations growing up going like, what can I influence? Which is good, right? Like having a brand and everything else. But there isn't a like, hey, I'm going to get a job and do this. It's like, okay, what can I do to not have to work but still become a millionaire? Like kids know who Mr. Beast is. They know all these, but they don't know very many company owners anymore. And it's just where we are as a society.
Yeah, but that's no different than all the kids who play soccer or a
Yep.
sport who want to be a professional in it, but will never be a professional in it, but they can enjoy it. It's no different. They're going to
Right.
learn that they're not that person, and it's just going to take time. We have to go back to the truth basis and not give everybody's trophies, but tell everybody, I'm sorry, but you might want to pick something else because you're not going to be this star if
Right.
you don't put in the time.
Yep.
Are you putting in the 10,000 hours to be able to do this or not? And if you're not willing to put in 10,000 hours, then go figure something else out.
Right. And like we talked about, there's nothing wrong with it being a side project until it becomes full time. Went to an event like a month ago, 2 months ago, that a local girl created Dallas content creators. It was a club. It was a thing. Started off her first event, had like 5 people at it. She just had a ballroom in a hotel. She had 20, 30 vendors. She had a couple hundred people. And it started with just her and her friend, like, hey, we want to do this. Things are possible, right? You hear about everybody who started, they started with just a few people in a room, and they kept pushing at it. So things are possible, but it's okay for it to be a side hustle until it's your main hustle.
Or
And
it might not ever be your main hustle.
right,
It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of people who are doing this a lot got really popular when we were locked up,
right.
and there was nothing else for us to watch, right? I'm not talking
During
prison.
COVID,
I'm talking
during COVID,
yeah, COVID.
you're saying all
Um,
kinds of random things today.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine. So I was on my date with my wife, first date, and I said I was incarcerated once,
Mhm.
and I was like the Navy
Yeah.
because it was a form of incarceration.
Yep.
And she was like, she was ready to leave.
I used to tell people I've been in and out of jail the last 20 years because what I did for work.
Right,
Right.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
it's the same thing. You have to make sure what your plan is, what you plan on doing, and if you're not willing to put in the hours for it, that's okay. Make it a hobby. Make it have fun. Do something else, but don't get upset when it doesn't work for you.
True. And I'll go the inverse of that because I spoke to like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, to people who are looking for jobs again. There was a room full of 40, 50 people have had a hard time. They were in corporate America. They focused on their job for a long time. They all got laid off and they lost their sense of identity. So one thing I'll add to that is I don't care what you do for a living. You need to have something else in case that you also can lean on. Because here were all these people. And look, I was one of those 21 and a half years at a company. If I didn't have speaking on the side, I would have been distraught when I got fired.
Yeah, everybody's distraught when they get fired. You were
I know.
distraught.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any other way. That's why it's so important when you talk about it, people understand you were distraught, and that's why it's important what you're doing. However, so the question is, if you don't work for yourself,
Correct,
and you work for somebody else, you better have another 5 to 9 job to fall back on. If you work for yourself, only do that what you're working for yourself, because if you do multiple jobs, you're not going to be really good at it.
Right.
I'm still trying to cut back so I can focus on certain things and because I do a lot. And that has to do with the fact that I don't want to have any quiet time, and we won't get into that because we don't have that much time. But that's just who I am. But to be 100% in on one thing, that is what you should do.
Right.
If it's your stuff.
Yep.
That's just my only take. But you can have multiple streams of income, but you don't get those multiple streams of income unless you have other people running those streams for you. Qasim is doing it, but Qasim has other people doing it for him.
Correct.
Or you have Alex Hormozy who's doing it, but he's buying companies, changing the people who are running the companies, and that's how he's doing it. What, you all right there?
Yeah, no, something popped up on my screen all of a sudden I couldn't see. So
get some glasses.
Yeah. Well, hey, I do have to drop. I got to.
Hey, it's all right there at the minute. Why don't you take us out?
Yep.
And we'll be back on Thursday.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining Ed Parcaut and myself on ACES 53. We're here on Tuesdays and sometimes Thursdays at noon Central, 10 a.m. Pacific. And we're talking about what we're using AI for, what we're learning in our business. Every once in a while, we bring in a special guest, aka Joker, somebody who has a special skill or talent. They can also bring some information that we can all learn from. So thank you, as always, for joining us. And the best way to support us is like and share. Thank you, Ed.
Right. Thank you, Brian. Everybody make it a great day. Be back on Thursday. All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.